As we get closer to Wednesday morning, our first late start for teacher collaboration, I want to talk about this idea of 50 great minutes. We have from 8 to 8:50 every Wednesday morning to get better as a group. And so there's some things that we need to do to ensure that. What we want is that to keep this idea that it's loose and tight at the same time in terms of what we expect from you. It's neither top down, some of the things we're doing, it's not bottom up. And so it's simultaneously loose and tight at the same time. And so what I mean by that is that we want to give you the flexibility to be able to do what you feel you need to do as teachers in collaboration. But we also understand that it needs to be tight in a sense that there should be some expectations that we have, some accountability that we want you guys to accomplish, but we want to give you the flexibility to be able to do what you need to do to get the job done and put your own spin on it as an educator. And so we're going to try to walk between loose and tight in terms of how we collaborate as a district. And so part of this begins with having an agenda. And so, we want you to be able to not come at 8 o'clock in the morning and say, okay, what did we do last week? No, we should have an agenda that drives each session. So each time you meet, you have an example of, like I have here, create I can statement on the Reading Standard 2.1. All right, so now that's what we're working on. Let's hammer that out. So we only have 50 minutes, and so it's going to have to be very concentrated work that we're going to do. And so I'll give you some more examples. Bring examples of good assessments for Reading Standard 2.1. Come to an agreement on the assessment of 2.1. And so the agenda is very important so that it allows you to create short-term goals that you can actually complete and then move the process forward. And so keep that in mind as you move forward. We also want to not collaborate. We don't want to, when we put you in groups, I know it's difficult to try to stay on task, and so it might be good to put somebody in charge to keep you on track, because it's really easy to get off task and talk about things that really aren't going to better us as a group. And so think about that as you move forward too into Wednesday. That let's stay on topic. We need 50 great minutes of work. And so what I hope to do, and when I talked about this on the in-service, was that I hope that we could, I could give you a better idea of what we expect you to do during this time. And so I gave somewhat of a framework here that I took the grade 2 power standards and I can statements, and I just grouped them. And I primarily focused on the first one there that you see in the red. I can answer questions to show I understand important details. And so what we want, obviously, what we hope is that we can give this out to each parent, and then that they can see, okay, I can see what my kid's going to learn in a given year and see how that works. From that, we want to take that same red highlighted question or I can statement, and then we want to create high quality assessments based on those agreed upon standards. And like I mentioned at the in-service, you can pull what you currently have, because you might have a great assessment that assesses 2.1. That's fine. And you might have maybe part of this assessment is good and part of this isn't. And we want you to come together as a group and poll and have a discussion on how can we find out if Johnny got the learning target of I can answer questions to show I understand important details. So it might be a combination of things that you pull in, but we want you to have that conversation of, what does that look like? What is that high quality assessment? How do we know that Johnny really gets the material? And I would venture to say that a lot of our assessments don't tell us that information, and that's something we really need to improve upon. And so from there we have our assessment, and then we move on, and we start to begin to look at what mastery looks like. Again, the same I can statement that I showed earlier. We had the assessment, now we have the way we grade it. And so I can answer questions to show I understand important details. I can infer the answer to a question using clues in the text, which would be the mastery level. I can write a correct answer in a complete sentence, which would be your proficient level, your partially proficient level. I can choose a correct answer from the question, underline the evidence, and then my novice level, of course, my lowest level. And so we start to have this discussion of what mastery looks like under each assessment of the I can statement. Okay? And that's what we're trying to accomplish. This is the accountability piece, the tight piece that I talked about earlier, that that will help hopefully guide you in terms of your work that you need to do in every subject area. And so 50 great minutes begins on Wednesday. And so let's start with an agenda. Let's have ideas for that. Let's create 50 great minutes for yourselves. And I know if we do that every Wednesday, that's going to really drive our school forward. And so I look forward to Wednesday morning with all of you.